All right, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Gian from Hospitality, and yeah, it's been a while since I posted anything on the channel, and yeah, there's a particular reason for that. I was working to get my brokerage, real estate brokerage license. I took the test, I passed it, and I got contracted, slash hired, but it's really contracted by. By a real estate firm, and I've been taking their training and everything, and I've been a little bit busy, apart from running the operation and all that. So yeah, that's particularly the reason why I've been a little bit caught up in all those other things. But I'm looking to get a lot more consistent in posting. Apart from that, for the real estate endeavors, I just created another channel, the Real Estate Muggle. So I'll put this somewhere in the space. So yeah, anything related to the real estate firm and anything real estate related, it's going to be over there on that other channel. So yeah, I'm pretty excited that that's happening, and yeah, pretty excited to start working at the major or macro front of real estate. So I've been doing short-term rentals, and now moving on to more traditional buy, selling, and all that other good stuff inside of the real estate firm. So yeah, other than that, let's get on to this. Announcements out of the way. You probably already read the title, and yeah, we had some guests that left our unit in pretty bad conditions, and also in our very closed AC filled unit, they smoked inside the unit. So you could just imagine the amount of the smell that just populated the entire space, and it's a particularly hard smell to actually get out. So let me tell you, what we do, and some tips and tricks to kind of like get the smell out, how to enforce your house rules, and yeah, what to do, in the future. So if you encounter this situation, you probably already are going to have the adequate SOPs to handle it, from what you're going to see in the video. So let's get to it. How do you get the smell out? So there are three ways that I know of, particularly to get the smell out relatively quickly. And yeah, the third one is not really all that quick, because it's just open everything up, every window, every door, and let it air out. It'll eventually go out. So that's not the most efficient one. So we're going to take that third one, and we're not going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the first two. And the first one and most efficient one is to get an ozone generator. So I'll put a picture of an ozone generator there, and also in the description I'll link the ozone generator that we've been buying. They're very small, and they're very convenient to use. So that's the particular two reasons why we bought them. So an ozone generator, it basically has a ceramic with a UV light that generates ozone molecules. So ozone molecules oxidize very, very, very rapidly any other molecules. They take the odor molecules from the cigarette, and they oxidize it, and it causes them to not be stuck to any place that they were stuck. So for example, if they're stuck in the couch, if they're stuck in the curtains, if they're stuck anywhere else, those ozone molecules are going to take it out, and they're just going to oxidize them, and it's going to leave it smelling very fresh. So one of the particular ways to use it is to just put it in a very high place, in a place where you think that it's going to get the majority of the surface area. And a very high place is very, very ideal, because ozone is much denser than air. So what's going to happen is that the ozone is going to come out of the ozone generator, and it's going to go down and down and down and drop to the floor, because it is denser than air. So there's different time length, with the timer in the ozone generator. But we've looked at leaving the ozone generator in around 400 square feet for 1 hour. to be pretty satisfactory to get out, all those cigarette smokes. And basically, the cigarette smoke is or cigarette smoke odor is out in an hour. So that's very efficient, and that's very good for our current day-to-day housekeeping works. So let's go to the second one, and the second one is to have a more powerful odor, drown out the prior odor. So, for example, another powerful odor before I came to know what ozone generators were, we used to use black coffee. So you brew black coffee and you leave it in certain areas. So inside of the glass, just leave it in certain areas, and the odor is strong enough that it'll start to mask and drown out the cigarette smoke odor. And it's not the best way. The best way is obviously to use an ozone generator. It's worked enough times that if an ozone generator breaks down or it stops working during, whatever we're doing, then we're going to just brew some black coffee and use that for the time being. The third one, we're not going to talk about it because it's just airing the entire unit out. So that's totally out of the question, and it's not efficient at all. And we don't have that time to just leave the entire unit unoccupied and open air out before the next guest. So definitely look into purchasing an ozone generator. If you don't have an ozone generator, look into other powerful odors that are a little bit more mainstream or more accepted. So, for example, black coffee is pretty, most of everyone will tolerate the smell of black coffee rather than tolerate the smell of cigar smoke. So now let's say that your guests have smoke in the unit. So, and you particularly have a no smoking policy. So what are you going to do? So one of the things that you have to do is that if you have a fee for smoking inside of the unit, so just get the sufficient amount of documentation, any cigarette butts, any cigar butts, any ash or whatever, that you can have. You obviously can't take a picture of the odor, right? But what you can do is, if you have a vendor or someone that can deal with that type of smoke, you can have them create a little invoice or certification for you saying that yes, we had to do ozone treatment, or we had to do X or Y to get the cigarette smoke out, and make sure that you supply that documentation with the particular fee that you're going to charge your guests for that particular broken house rule before the check-in of the next guest. If you do this submission after the check-in time of the next guest or the check-in of the next guest, it will not be valid. So Airbnb changed the policy around for this, so make sure that it's before the check-in of the next guest. So that's how you enforce the house rules. And if you have the documentation and you have the photos and you have everything, Airbnb will not say no, because it's brain dead if they have the sufficient amount of documentation, or at least we haven't had the experience that they're going to say no to us, and we have a particular way to construct our documentation process. So maybe it's a function of the strength of our documentation rather than the actual submission. So let take that with a grain of salt then, and just make sure that you can make the most powerful case that you can, and just submit that the most powerful submission that you can. And what to do after that? So you've enforced your house rules. You've worked with the cigarette smoke. So what are you going to do with the next guest that's inevitably going to smoke inside of your unit? Because we could leave it in the rules, we could leave it in signs, we could leave signaling within the within the unit, but we aren't there 24/7 to hold the guest's hands or to just tell them not to do something inside of the 24/7 inside of the unit, right? If they're smoking and we, don't catch it at the moment, we're going to catch it when we smell the smoke after they leave. So what are you going to do? So by now, if you're working at some type of scale, you're supposed to have a housekeeping manual. So, and if you have a housekeeping manual, it's basically basically a little handbook with your SOPs, with your cleaning process, with all the needed information that all of your housekeepers need to service a unit, and what the expectations are for them and what the expectations are from you. So everyone's on the same page and everyone, knows exactly what they need to do, and they have the least amount of questions when they're going to perform whatever cleaning duties they're going to do, right? So that's one of the particular benefits of having the handbook is, you get to be more efficient with your time, because the amount of questions that come back saying, what do I do here? What do I do there? No, everything's already answered in the particular handbook. And I don't have a handbook with me right now. I think all of the ones that I have are already handed out. But yeah, probably in one of the later videos after this one, I'll have a handbook ready for you guys, so you can see like more or less what it has. So back to the point. So let's say you already have a housekeeping handbook, and within those housekeeping handbooks, you can include, just like any other handbook, any other rule book or whatever, you can include annexes, right? So now that this happened to you, what you need to do is create an SOP, a standard operating procedure for this particular situation. So this particular situation is odor removal. Let's call it odor removal, for simplicity's sake. So what to do in odor removal? Within this annex, what you need to have is, what are the tools that are going to be required for odor removal? What's the course of action that you need to take with those particular tools to remove the odor? And what's the order of the steps, right? What step has to be taken before the other step in order to make sure that everything is fulfilled, right? And that you remove the odor successfully. So now that you have that, you could put it inside of every housekeeper handbook. You can give, I suggest to print it out, so that the housekeepers can have it handy without, having to switch apps within their phone, or if they're using some sort of housekeeping software, they have to get out of the housekeeping software and look for the PDF and all that stuff. I suggest to print it out. We print out very, very little material, and one of the things that I am very adamant to print out is our housekeeping handbook, so that they can have it handy. That's one of the few things that we still do on paper. So basically, those are the things to do if you ever get a guest that will inevitably smoke inside of your unit, and particularly you've already had guests that has smoke inside the unit. If you had a particular experience with a guest like this, just leave a comment and see how. To let me see how you handled it, and see if there's another particular way to actually handle these types of situations that I'm not aware of. So just leave your comment down below. If you like the video, please subscribe. It would be very, very much appreciated, and I'll see you in the next one.